Another week, another platinum trophy. This week we are traveling to the world of Valisthea for the game Final Fantasy XVI. This platinum trophy took me over 100 hours to complete, so before we get into today's video, pressing both like and subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to press that bell icon as well. I wanted to make sure that I got this platinum trophy for the game as soon as possible. We are looking at a total of 50 trophies, 40 of them being bronze, 6 silver, 3 gold, then of course the platinum trophy itself. Now, before we get any further, this is your spoiler warning for the game. I will be talking about the story in this video. So, let's get started. The first area you may recognize if you have played the demo. This is the area that our father, who is also the king, sends us to check out an area due to certain reports. While there isn't a trophy for specifically doing anything in this area, is a combat trophy that you can pick up this early on. All we had to do was land 15 shift strikes or shift shots combined for the trophy Shift. Yes, that is the trophy name. After this, we arrive at Phoenix Gate with our father and our brother Joshua. Joshua is the dominant of the Phoenix and is set to go into the Hall of the Ancestors the next morning. However, on this night, it is a time for celebration. Everybody has been drinking and partying, but then an attack takes place. It seems like the goal is to kidnap Joshua, however, this does not work out. As Joshua and our father try to escape, Joshua witnesses our father's death. As a result of this, Joshua turns into the Phoenix. From a distance, Clive, the character who we play as in the game, witnesses the Phoenix and his head begins to hurt. After a while, Clive turns into an icon of fire named Ifrit. During this fight sequence, however, we play as the Phoenix and we do everything that we can to stop Ifrit. At this point, I should note that Joshua does not know that Clive is Ifrit and Clive does not know that Joshua is the Phoenix. This does come up again later. After a lengthy but amazing battle, the fight finally comes to an end and Clive ends up killing Joshua. After this, we then wake up in the present day, which is over 13 years later, and receive the trophy Awoken. Quite a bit of time passes before the next trophy, so prepare yourself for some story. After we have awoken, we continue to make our way forward and come across quite a few enemies along with Shiva's dominant. After a well-fought battle, we defeat the Shiva dominant, but after Clive takes a closer look, he recognizes her. It turns out that this person is the child from 13 years ago named Jill. We refuse to kill her, and because of this, we start a fight with our squad member known as Timiat. After we battle him, however, we then are surrounded by more soldiers. We protect Jill, and as the soldiers are about to attack, lightning strikes, defeating all of these soldiers. The person that conjured this lightning was somebody named Sid, and it looks like he has a hound that we had as a child, but obviously all grown up. The hound's name is Torgal. We then follow Sid through the Deadlands to their hideout. Not much can be said while we're at the hideout. I do several side quests that are available to me while I'm there. For one of these, I had to hand out food to 3 customers I made and bought some upgrades at the forge as well. We next set out to the next area and we come up against a large creature. Both Sid and Torgal have joined us on this part of our adventure as well. We can also use Torgal to attack, and this is where our next trophy comes into play. The large creature's name is Fafnir, and we get Torgal to execute and land 5 precision 6 for the trophy A Find Hound. Continuing on with the story now, and we find our way to a castle where the enemies are holding up. While battling against these enemies and making our way through the castle, I get another trophy. I punish a total of 10 enemies for the trophy Punisher. Here is also where we chase down Benedicta. Benedicta is the dominant of the icon known as Garuda. Of course, we come up against her in battle, and this battle is definitely a lot more challenging than what we have done previously. Eventually though, we beat her in battle, however something strange happens. Clive reaches out his hands and seems to take her power away. For inheriting a power unknown, we receive the trophy With Great Power. Benedicta makes her escape inconsolable due to her losing Garuda. Then another strange thing happened. She seemed to be able to summon Garuda despite her no longer having this power of wind. We make our way through what is essentially so many tornadoes. We make our way to Garuda and battle her, but in our standard Clive form. After a while, however, this is proven not to be enough, and Clive ends up actually turning into Ifrit. After what can only be described as an extremely intense battle, Ifrit finally defeats Garuda once and for all. However, Clive has no control control over Ifrit and is unable to turn back into himself. This is where Cid steps up and shows that he is the dominant of Ramuh. He is easily able to take Ifrit down, however it looks as though every time that Cid turns into Ramuh, it does some damage to himself. Now that is over, we finally return to the hideout to rest. During this time, however, it seems that Jill has woken up and she will soon be coming on our adventure with us. First though, it's time to make a quick stop at the fort to upgrade and buy some weapons and armor. I crafted some items, and after crafting my last one, I received the trophy for crafting 5 pieces of gear called Dress to the Fives. Not much stuff happens story-wise here. We are traveling with Torgal and Jill back to Phoenix Gate, and of course pick up some side quests along the way that we complete. While doing these, I decided that Torgal deserves some praise and fuss, so after interacting with Torgal a total of 5 times, I received the trophy, You Can Pet the Dog. I also took a look to see what combat trophies that I can work on while I was out in the open world part of the game, and I noticed this next one as it required me to use the moves I received from taking Garuda. We had to defeat a total of 5 enemies using a move called Deadly Embrace. For doing this, we received the trophy Fatal Attraction. After finally arriving at Phoenix Gate, we managed to enter the Hall of the Ancestors, where we had to take on some pretty tough enemies. I eventually got to the end and read the mural of the Phoenix. At this point, Clive's head starts to hurt again, and this time itself froze. Clive was then transported to when he and Joshua fought as the Phoenix and Ifrit. The hooded figure took off his hood, and it was revealed that the hooded figure was actually Clive. At this point, Clive fully accepts that he is responsible for the death of Joshua. During this interaction as well, we end up fighting ourselves, and then they seem to turn themselves into a different form of power using Ifrit. This is where Clive finally learns how to control Ifrit and eventually turns into this version himself. After more of an intense battle between me and the Infernal Shadow, we finally turn into the full-scale Ifrit. This is where Ifrit comes up against Ifrit in an explosive battle in which we finally win. This is where Clive truly accepts his fate, and for doing so, we receive the trophy Acceptance. We now return to Cid and give him the rundown of everything that is happening. Cid then talks to us about the Mother Crystals. They are giant crystals that can be found in Valisthea, and they give people of the world the power of ether. Cid informs us that despite this, the reason that the world is dying is due to these Mother Crystals. Cid then asks us if we are willing to bring down the old world so that we could bring a new one, and of course we agree. We have now made our way to the next Mother Crystal's heart. We then come up against what was the Guardian of the Inner Sanctum, a huge dragon type creature. After a well-fought battle, it of course was beaten, and we made our way inside the sanctum and to the Mother Crystal's heart. Cid tries attacking with his sword, but it does nothing. He then turns into Ramuh and destroys the crystal. However, in its place what seems to be a black hole, and a creature comes out of it. Clive attempts to bring out Ifrit, but is unable to. Ramuh then throws his staff into the enemy, forcing it back into the black hole. This enemy is known as Typhon. We of course have to fight Typhon, and to do so we summon Ifrit. We beat the first stage of this fight, but it isn't over yet. Typhon then transforms into Typhon the Transgressor. This fight has really stepped up now, and some of the moves that take place are incredible. But we match Typhon at this point and charge up a move called Hellfire. We then use the attack on Typhon and we defeat him. When we come to, we realize that Cid has been gravely injured. Cid is dying, and the last thing that he chooses to do is give his power to Clive, just like how Clive took the power of Benedicta. Once the power transfer is done, Cid takes his final breath. Then out of nowhere, someone starts speaking to us, and a large blue flame appears, which then engulfed us all. Someone then appears and handles the flames, and it appears to be an older version of Joshua. Torgal immediately recognizes Joshua. Joshua talks with someone who is named Ultima. Ultima is looking to use Clive as a vessel. However, Joshua protects us and seems to absorb Ultima himself. We then watch as the Mother Crystal just disappears. For defying our fate, we receive the trophy Lawless. We then watch as our hideout is being attacked and then completely destroyed. We now jump to 5 years later, and we are now referred to as Cid. Due to the last hideout being destroyed, we now have a new one. While at the hideout, there is a trophy that I can pick up. I have to spend a total of 36,000 gil at the Tub and Crown, which is a pub. Thankfully, I have over 40,000 gil at this point, and after buying 4 rounds for everybody, I quickly pick up the trophy Eureka. Next was a combat-based trophy. While I was on a side quest, I thought it would be best to get this done and out of the way. I first equipped an attack known as Lightning Rod. When in combat, I used the move which placed down an orb type thing. I stood in the middle and waited for enemies to attack. When they did, I dodged out of the way. I did this a total of 3 times and received the trophy Rod to Redemption. Another quick combat related trophy now, and I got this one done by accident. I just had to use Ramuh moves while in combat. This one specifically, I had to discharge 50 Blind Justice Lightning Balls. For doing this, I got the trophy I Am the Thunder. The next trophy I actually had to complete a side quest for. The side quest revealed to me that Ambrosia, a chocobo that we last saw over 18 years ago now, is actually still alive. We rescued her and her flock. After this, we received something called Ambrosia's Tag, which allows us to actually ride her. For riding Ambrosia for the first time, I received the trophy When You Ride Alone. Our next goal is to go and find our uncle, so we travel to a few areas and fight a lot of enemies to find him. Eventually we reach an area where we are then taken to our uncle. At first he goes to attack us, but after a great performance by Clive to show that it really is Clive, we give him the update on what actually happened in the 18 years since we last saw him. He agreed to also give us a ship that will help us cross the ocean so we can get to another Mother Crystal. While we are waiting for this ship though, we head back to our hideout and I go about doing side quests and bounties that are currently open up to us. I also decided that I'm high enough level now to do a stage replay. I decided to do a stage replay of the first stage as there is a boss that I should now easily be able to defeat without taking any damage. I go there and easily defeat the boss and take 0 damage. The reason I had to take 0 damage is to receive the trophy You're Not the Boss of Me. Our ship is now ready and we set sail for a location named Drake's Breath. A few enemies later we have finally arrived at the heart of the Mother Crystal, where we stumble across what looks to be a sacrifice ritual that is currently taking place. After defeating the standard enemies, we then face up against the main boss of the area. Jill has transformed and is performing aid by not allowing the lava to hit us as we take on the main boss. We attempted several times to turn into Ifrit, but to no avail. So we go into our semi-prime form and start taking down the boss. Eventually we manage to defeat the boss without turning into Ifrit. A cutscene then takes place and Jill defeats the person who she has been after. For doing this, we receive the trophy Legacy. Now before heading into the next main quest, there are a couple more side quests and bounties that again we need to do. While doing these, I semi-prime during battle to defeat the enemies. For defeating a total of 20 enemies in this form, we receive the trophy Made to be Broken. Our next task is to head back to where we grew up, the castle where we were at the beginning of the game. Here we can find an enemy named Kupka, who is the dominant of Titan. Unfortunately, we are taken prisoner, but thanks to Gav, we escape and rescue Jill from being executed. After we take down the enemies inside, we made our way inside and take Koopa himself. He has the power of Titan, who can deal quite a lot of damage, can also dodge fairly easily. After a long fought battle, we finally defeat him. As he is attacking us during a cutscene, we cut off his hands. This sends him into a rage, and then suddenly he stops as the Titan power is being drained from him and into us. After some more rage from Kupka, someone appears, punches Kupka in the gut and carries him away in one hand. For all of this, we receive the trophy Twilight Rose. While I am playing, I'm still trying to get those combat trophies done as well, so I don't really have to focus them on the post game, but while working on a side quest, I found an enemy that I could do this next combat trophy on. For this trophy, we had to land 2 heatwave counters in a single battle. To do this, you need an enemy that does a long range attack, and you need to counter just before it hits you. By doing this, we get the trophy Packing Heat. This next trophy was the result of one of the best boss fights I've ever experienced. It was Ifrit against Titan. There were about 3 different stages to this boss, and in total to defeat Titan it took me well over 20 minutes. After this video, I highly recommend you search for this fight and watch it for yourself, as I simply can't describe how amazing it was. There is footage currently playing of just part of the fight and it still doesn't do it justice. We finally defeat Titan though, which means we have taken our revenge on Kupka. For defeating Kupka, we received the trophy From Stone to Sand. Now that we are back at the hideout, there are more side quests to do, but also bounties that we need to collect. I head out to complete these, and after defeating 2, I received a trophy called Think Mark for defeating a total of 10. Every time I head back to the hideout, there are letters waiting for me that I can read from various characters. For opening 10 letters at the reading table, I received the trophy The Pen is Mightier. I have now played enough of the game to visit a character named Harpocrates. That's how you pronounce it. That's how you spell it anyway. By sharing my knowledge with him, he now has the knowledge level of 5. By reaching level 5, I received the trophy The More You Know. And thankfully, I don't have to say his name again. Anyway, story related trophy now, and what a battle this was. Clive now knows that Joshua is alive, and with his help, this fight becomes a whole lot easier, even though it does get a bit rocky at times. For uniting the flames, we received the trophy Twin Flames. Now, a trophy I didn't expect to get for a while was this. For this trophy, while an enemy is staggered, you have to deal a total of 50,000 damage. Previously, I think prior to this, I had reached a total of just under 40,000, but thankfully I somehow managed just to get over 50,000 for this trophy. It's over 50,000. Another story related trophy, and this is a trophy related to Jill. We were in a fight against Odin. One of his attacks was that powerful it sliced its way to the bottom of the ocean, and that is actually where we ended up. Now unfortunately the water is starting to cave in around us, and myself and Jill are trying to escape, and Jill is using her power to form a path for us not to get killed. Long story short, we now have her power, and with that cutscene we received the trophy, The Promise. Between main missions, I do everything that I possibly can so I don't have to do it in the post game. Also, it helps me level up for the main missions as well. One of the rewards of the side missions was to upgrade one of the consumable and inventory slot. By getting both of these to the maximum upgrade, we get the trophy with 2 Ds. We now once again go on the hunt for Odin, as he almost defeated us, and we need to make sure that we actually defeat him. After tracking him down, we take him on in battle. Definitely not one of the toughest fights that I had in this game, but a good fight anyway. At the end of the fight, instead of taking the power from him, he gives us the power willingly. By collecting this one, we have collected final piece, the final icon. For completing this part of the story though, we receive the trophy, A Vessel Complete. Now with the move of Odin attached, I accidentally got another combat trophy. I've been mainly saving these for once I complete the game, but I guess this one gets one out of the way. We managed to land a level 2 or higher Zantetsuken 5 times in total. This gives us the trophy Every Damn Sinner. Now it is time to find and go up against the main boss himself. His name is Ultima. He takes us into a place called the Interdimensional Rift. Now this is a huge spoiler warning, so if you don't want to know the story, don't listen. Ultima explains to us that he is the one that created humans for a purpose. He created humans as he needed someone like Clive. Clive is the way that they can create a brand new world, and of course when that world is created for them, Clive and all the humans will be exterminated. There will be no need for them anymore. We of course fight Ultima to put a stop to this, and while we have held him off for now, this unfortunately isn't the end just yet. For escaping the Interdimensional Rift and I guess surviving a battle against Ultima himself, we received the trophy Ashes to Ashes. Now we are in the endgame territory, and there is still quite a lot of things that we need to do. I want to get as much as I possibly can completed before we have to play the entire game again, but this time on New Game Plus and on the mode Final Fantasy mode. Our first task is to collect all the signboards, but while doing this I actually unlock another trophy. For visiting all of the areas on not only the world map but also all the local maps, I received the trophy Here Be Rosfields. Then of course shortly after this I collected the final signboard for the trophy, and they opened up my mind. For completing main quest, the side quest, and also hunted the large majority of the hunt board, we were also earning renown. By earning this renown, we are unlocking things when going to somebody at the hideout after reaching a certain amount. For obtaining all of these items, we received the trophy Careful Whisper. On the local map, I then noticed that the blacksmith has something new in store for us. This turned out to be the legendary sword named Götterdämmerung. Götterdämmerung? I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering so many words in this video. Anyway, for crafting this legendary sword, we received the trophy Half Past Twilight. Thankfully I did have this weapon, as now it is time to come up against the final monster that was on the hunt board. By this point though, aside from having a powerful weapon, I was also at max level, so taking down this monster was quite easy compared to other ones I had faced previously. And now that the final monster had been defeated, we received the trophy Hunter Hunted. It was now time to obtain the final of the curiosities. However, to get all of these we had to take on several different Chronolith trials. There were 3 stages in each of them themselves having 3 stages, so every trial had 9 battles. During these, if you do certain things, you get extra time added on to fight the boss at the end of all the stages. This was a pain but also a lot of fun, as you just got to constantly slay enemies left, right and center, using just one of the icons as well in each of the trials. This is also where I decided it probably would be best to start on the combat trials. First of all though, for completing our first trial, we received the trophy Trial Run. Our next trophy was using the icon Bahamut. First combat trophy in this run was executing a precision dodge 3 times while charging a single Mega Flare. Thankfully this was quite easy to do. For this we received the trophy Such Dodge, So Mega. Using the Mega Flare is also a part of the next trophy as well. For landing a total of 100 hits with a level 2 or higher Mega Flare, cost the trophy 100 MFPS. that is also the end of the trial with Bahamut, and we move on to the next trial, which is using Titan. Thankfully, Titan's combat trophies are actually quite easy. Our first combat trophy with Titan is to use the Titanic block to fend off 10 enemy attacks. For this, we achieved the trophy Untouchable. The next one wasn't more difficult, just more of a pain, being as we are on a time limit here and we need to still make sure that we have enough time left at the end to take on the boss. When using the Titanic counter, which is when you counter an enemy as the enemy is attacking you, we have to land the third punch for this to count. For landing the third punch at the Titanic counter twice in a single battle, we receive the trophy Beat Rocking Blocks. And with that trophy, the trial with Titan has been completed and we don't actually move on to another trial for Garuda. I thought it would be best to do Garuda combat trophy on enemies that you find in the world. The first trophy is quite a simple one, but you have to have mastered at least one of the moves in this trophy to be able to put the ability in a different slot. For landing the move Gouge, Wicked Wheel and Rook's Gambit in midair before landing, we receive the trophy Never Coming Down. Our next combat trophy is actually using the icon Odin. This trophy needs us to parry an enemy just as they were about to attack us, so we can do something called a steal counter. To do a steal counter, we have to attack the enemy the moment they are about to hit us. For executing 3 steal counters in a single battle, we receive the trophy Fistful of Steel. At this point, we still had 2 combat trophies left to do, but I first thought, you know what, let's finish up the trials to get the curiosities. For obtaining all of the curiosities, we received the trophy For the Horde. So for the final of the combat trophies now, this is using the icon Shiva. Again, these trophies were pretty simplistic. We first had to perfectly dodge attacks with Cold Snap. If you do this right, you freeze the enemies momentarily. For inflicting permafrost on 10 enemies, we received the trophy Oh Snap. This one was probably the easiest one out of the bunch because all I had to do was go into a stage replay the first mission and use the move called Diamond Dust. By using this move and defeating 3 enemies at the exact same time, I received the trophy Cold Blooded. I have now done everything that I can up until this point. Everything else was either story related or something that was better to do in Final Fantasy mode. Speaking of story related trophies, we go ahead and finish up the last mission of the game. We come up against Ultima again for the final time. Ultima had 3 stages, and after a long fought out battle, we had finally defeated it to receive the trophy Falling Star. It is now time to go into New Game Plus and complete the game on Final Fantasy mode. And this mode increased everything. It increased the level cap, it increased the enemy attack damage, the enemy level, EXP, just everything it increased. During Final Fantasy mode, the good thing is I could just skip all of the cutscene, which probably saved me several, I'm gonna say several hours. I'm talking more like 20 to 30 hours because I'm pretty sure that's how many cutscenes are in this game. Started things off though in the last journey of this game. I reset all of my ability points as I mainly used 3 abilities, and maxing them out made everything so much easier. For just mastering a single icon's abilities though, we received the trophy Yes Icon. During Final Fantasy mode, I only had to do a couple of side quests and it led to me getting better weapons, which of course will help me when I come up against enemies that are 10 levels above me. Aside from maybe 6 side quests, I only did main mission stuff as I had realised that I could still take on the main boss of each mission quite easily. Not as easy as the original playthrough, but easier than the difficulty level that I was expecting. I am now already at the final mission of the game, but before this, there is still one more thing that I need to do. I need to upgrade all of the abilities of all the icons to the max. Being as I had Odin, there was a quick and easy way to do this thanks to a couple of guides that have already been posted online. We had to use Odin's Dancing Steel move to get the ultimate move up to level 5. Use that level 5 move and it kills all of the enemies in their area. This gave us about 1200 ability points every 30 seconds, give or take. After about 30 to 45 minutes of grinding, I defeated the last of the enemies that I needed for the final ability points to fully upgrade everything and to receive the trophy Masterclass. Eventually, after playing for 3 hours on Thursday night, starting again at 6 PM on Friday and getting to bed at 4 AM on Saturday morning, waking up at 9 AM on Saturday and playing through till 3 PM on 3 PM on Saturday afternoon, we had finally beaten Ultima for the second time and received the trophy Fantasy finally for completing the game on Final Fantasy mode, then the Platinum Trophy itself, the Chronicler, for defeating the game. In total for this platinum, from its release on the 22nd of June, it took me a total of 10 days to complete, and PlayStation has clocked me playing the game for 102 hours in total. Is the platinum worth going for? Personally, yes. I really enjoy the Final Fantasy series as a whole, and despite playing the games through normally taking upwards of 60 to 70 hours, it was a whole lot of fun. I loved the story, I loved the combat, it was just fantastic.